Hello everyone, Michael Mechanical here. Today I'm just going to create a bit of an update on what's going on. So, I did create another video, but I haven't uploaded it. I decided maybe I shouldn't worry about it now if I'm going to do this video. The engine has definitely come back apart again for one obvious reason. Well, actually no one knows what the obvious reason is. During filming, I measured a piston at 0.74 or something, and then I had other pistons at different values, and we pulled it apart just to double check. It was 0.72 and 0.78, and then all the others are about 0.96, which is actually out of spec for the head gasket because it was supposedly a 1.7mm gasket, in which case it would have been fine based on those values, but I was getting over 0.1, and the limit on the block is 0.974, which the 1.7 would have been just suited to. Because the values were very different, we pulled it apart to double check the numbers and try to rectify it as much as possible, and we did. I don't have a glove on, so I can't actually pick up a piston, but I can always put the glove on, and we can have a look at a piston to just see what we've actually done. But what I did was we got a belt sander, and you'll notice that there's only a few little scratches because we had a shim that we put on the block. You can see there's a scratch there. Put a shim on the block and it came off once when I got distracted. I'm trying to put the glove on as well. The reason we put the shim on there is so that when we use the belt sander, it doesn't cause any issues when doing what we're doing with the machining the pistons while it's in the block and assembled with the belt sander, because we didn't want the grit to touch the block and then scratch the block up. It scratched up the shim for sure, but didn't scratch the block. I will just take it as it comes and take it as it is. Yeah, now we've got all pistons, 1, 2, 3, 4, they are paired to their cylinder. They can't be interchanged anymore because of the protrusion values at those locations, but you can see the piston is nice and shiny. It's not perfectly a mirror finish, but it is there. Now, here's a weird one for you guys. Do you see the scratches up in the top section there? Around the chamber, on the top of the piston, the scratches are straight up and down. My dad said that I got to get rid of those scratches, and there's a reason for it, and I even managed to find a document on it about flexing to 98.7% aluminum, and if there's a scratch, it can crack right along the scratch. My dad was telling me about this with ROH. When he did jobs for them, they didn't want bars that had a scratch in it. Those bars had to be perfectly polished. Like you see this tool, it's not perfectly nice and shiny, but there is it's polished, and to some extent. That's not the polish level that he was required to do. He was trying to get a polish that's a mirror finish just for some heavy loading. Like, these bars are almost mirror finish. They're not quite mirror finish, but they are close enough. The reason you need a mirror finish, for whatever reason, is because if there's a scratch, that's where you can have a fatigue point. With this, if you have scratches in the surface, it can reduce the life by, reducing its fatigue strength, I believe it was. So instead of having a really high fatigue strength from which it'll break, huge way down the line, its fatigue strength is lower, meaning it will crack sooner, which is not good. Also, you'll notice I had the hone out, and the reason the pistons came out of the block is because 1, 2, and 4, I believe, still have scratches in them. I don't actually have a torch out here, which sucks, because every time I need a torch, there's no torch. They still have scratches in it, but it's only on the bottom half, and I'm not really sure whether I want to leave it alone. I can barely see with my own eyes here as it is, but there's some scratches in there. Very, very, very minute. So I might just try to grab a torch. We don't really have time for this, but there's straight up and down scratches. The thought that came to mind when I saw those scratches is it's probably from grit getting in the piston rings and causing issues. And today I've got to finish off the pistons, and then I've got to straighten out the sump because that glue is too damn strong. I bent the sump getting it off. As you can see, there's paint now been stripped out of the sump, which isn't actually good. And I might have to remove as much paint as possible, because the reason I have the paint stripping is because I used the gasket stripper to try and get rid of the blue stuff. They've bent the sump up here. You can just see where I've bent the sump, and that's how good that glue is. That glue, that sealant is too good. It will never be easy to get off. Once you got it on, there's no way to really get it off easily anymore. Grab a torch and we'll have a look down those boards, see if we can see anything. So yeah, we're at that point now, hey. I've got to put it back together again. I'm always using my phone to do these quickie video thingies as well. But I got to get a car running soon. So when I do get a job, that I'm all ready to go. So I'm not going to see it from this side, but I might be able to see it from this side. So if I look down the bore, you can probably just barely see those scratches in the bore. They're not as bad as they were before, but it's cleaned up. This one's perfect. This one's very minute scratches, and this one here is very minute. And it's only in the bottom half, or the bottom third, that there's a scratch. You can sort of see signs that there was a scratch up higher, but barely. And that's all there is. So I think, even though there's some scratches in the bore, it's not that bad. That looks like a hair. That is a hair. And then that side, there's no scratches at all. So ideally, I think it'll be fine with those scratches. They're not in the they're not in the areas where you'd likely have an oil consumption issue. It might be fine, it might not be. But I believe that those scratches will be fine where they are, because it's the bottom stroke. It's not where you have high compression and you lose compression at the top of the stroke. It's at the bottom when you've already used up all the energy. It should clean up, as far as I've been told. But yeah, I need to do what I can do, get this car running again, so that I can get it ready for work, because I need a car. But I'm going to get the engine back to where it was before, with the videos that I have been sort of semi-recording thingy. Once I'm at that point with the videos, essentially at the point where we've got the head back on there and all assembly back together, then I'll start resuming the recordings again. I'm not going to record all this work, I don't think, because this is the third time I think I've had this engine apart to do something to it. Because I put it together, then I pulled it apart because of the connecting rod bushes, and that was the first time I pulled it apart again, I think. No, that's the second time, and this is the third time, except I had the head on this time and I messed up my $500 head gasket. See, the thing is, when you're in a rush, you're going to make mistakes. And the reason I was in a rush is because I might need a car for work now. And I feel under pressure because that engine broke down and it needs fixing. In the meantime, I'm going to leave this alone. I'm going to stop making videos until that is done. And then I'll make my videos again and edit them when I feel in the mood. I just don't feel like doing anything. Haven't felt like it for like a year now, which isn't good. But it could be other reasons. And look, there's oil under my car again. All from the transmission. I'm getting sick of that transmission leaking oil. It's mostly because it's just hanging there, which is annoying. But I'll have to just leave it alone and then top it up when I get the chance to and make sure it has oil in it. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for your support. It'll be fixed in no time. It'll be back together in no time. But that's to you guys. To me, it's taking forever. But I think it's your mental health should always come first. So if anyone starts getting, like, saying you're not a mechanic or whatever, but the thing you got to realize is I wouldn't normally make the mistakes I'm making now because I follow the manual. The manual is right there, and I've been following that, and I didn't freaking, there was the one step that I sort of rushed because I was in a rush because I broke my car. I was doing perfectly well until this broke, and then I'm in a rush to get another car going. That's essentially as simple as it is. It's not because of any major fault of my own. The fault is the fact that my mental health started to break down really bad when that thing broke down, because my life was already having struggles in my own personal day-to-day life, and I was just trying to get by as smoothly as possible. That just made things worse. It just created more headaches for me. I was just trying to relax and do this steady pace, and then things fail. But anyway, that's why your mental health is important, guys. Take care, everyone. Michael Mechanical out.